Okay, so today let's talk a bit regulator creep. So I'm going to cycle this regulator. As you guys can see right now, it's going up from 128.9 to 129. I'm going to cycle it, and we're going to see where it's going to stop, and we're going to put a timer here. And we're gonna wait a few minutes and see where it lands. As you can see, it's still kind of going up, but yeah, so I'm gonna cycle it. So this screw here is a valve, and if I see, so it's 127, and let's put a timer. As you can see, slowly is going up, and I'm gonna stop the video, but I'm gonna be back like in 10 minutes or so and see where it stops. And then we're gonna go to the process of fixing it. So see ya in 10 minutes. Okay, it's been 7 minutes and it's at 130.3 and it's kind of still going up, but it's good enough. So let's cycle it again. So it was at 127 and it creeps like 3 bars. So you can see it's pretty sharp on 127 and it's creeping up again. So what does that mean? It means that if you do a fast shot, like if you do one shot, it's going to be 127. But if you wait like 10 minutes between a shot, it's going to creep up and it's going to have a 3 bar difference at least. So actually 5 minutes or so. Is it much? No. Can it be better? Yes. Does it make a big difference? It can, kinda can, especially on low power. And if you're not emptying the plenum or fully opening the valve, you're gonna have some different. Okay, the second time it went even further, 131. So yeah, and I forgot to mention, this is this regulator, so about 4 bars creep, but I had some worse, like 7 bars creep, and yeah, these make a lot of difference. So what do you need to fix this? It's very, very simple stuff. You only need, like, you can buy a set of like this. Well, not that many, but very low or very high grit sandpaper. And if you need even more stuff, if you want to go perfect, you can get like one of these. I got these maybe 10 years ago. So this is lapping compound, a set of various grits. You can get these on AliExpress for $10. And they do the job just fine. So let's get to that's basically, wow, and you need like a power drill. Can be a battery one or one you can plug. Ideally, you want some high-speed one. And an ice cream stick. Okay, so here we have the rag. First thing we're gonna do is actually clean the grease. You can remove or not the O-rings. But yeah. So then, before you even touch any regulation, what you want to do is do some kind of marking. So as you can see, let me grab a screw here so I can point. I did this mark, and I probably did... Okay, probably I did... what you should do is do a mark. I did that, and you should do one in the body aligned. I probably did it under the nut. So you can know where you start, but what I find best, it's actually first I'm gonna give it a pass on this sandpaper here so I can clean any burrs on the top. So this is like 320 grit. It's pretty wear already, so it's probably less. So what I'm gonna do is not too much press, and I'm just gonna do some H shape. It's a small surface. No need to press hard or anything, just light press so we can deburr the top. And what we're gonna do next is actually measure the size of the regulator. So 50.2, and this was set at 126 bar, 127 I believe. So yeah, we're gonna throw that off, but this is the base start, right? So now let's move the sandpaper away. So that sandpaper was just to remove any burrs from the adjustment, previous adjustments, or factory manufacturing actually. So I'm going to remove the nut. So before you say anything, this is a parallel jaw. It's not like a regular pliers. So these actually replace a wrench for the square nuts or hexagon nuts or whatsoever, because when we tied it, it's actually parallel jaws. So use either a proper wrench for it or one of these. So as you can see, I actually did a scratch there. So that's the initial, where the regulator was initially. So now I scrapped the top. We can actually see it there. So if from factory, it came something like that. Yeah. Anyway, so let's disassemble the whole thing. And this thing is beautifully machined. And you see you have a cone shape there. And let me get a plier so we can remove the piston off and the springs. Okay, so for removing the piston, you need one of these to remove the clip. This thing costs a couple bucks on AliExpress or even the hardware store, and it's off. And now we need something soft to push the piston. Well, it doesn't need to be soft, but not pointy. Guess this Allen will do the job. But ideally you want something soft. Now be careful with the springs. There are a few still in there. So these two are like this one actually came off. I disassembled plenty, so I know how the configuration is. Focus. Yeah. So the configuration is 2 in parallel, then 2 turned, and 2 turned. So basically it's 2 like this and 2 like, so 2 like this and 2 like that in series. We're gonna remove those. And this is where usually the creeping problem is. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to show it. Yeah, maybe. Let me grab these little guys. So this is a very cheap kind of digital magnifying glass, and this thing is awesome. So what we want, you see where the valve sits there? Let me try to. Machining marks. You see the scratch surface. So yeah, what we want to do is to polish both surfaces like a mirror finish. This one is usually pretty good, and I don't really advise messing much with this unless you know what you're doing. But this one, I'm gonna show it how I do it anyway. This one needs to be, you see those machining scratches and actually the surface finish. That's a problem. And you see the problem with creeping is, first let's recap how a regulator works. So this is like this has the springs here. And the way it works is the air comes from this way, passes through this hole, actually passes through, yes, this hole that comes from that hole, and the air from that hole goes through there and goes outside, and pressure starts to build and pushing this right side, the right piece, the piston, towards the the tip here. And the further away they are, the more pressure it needs on the piston for it to touches the nipple there and closes. And the problem with creeping is with time more pressure builds, so it pushes more towards the nipple, and it starts to press on the seal harder in order to try to seal. So that's and those micro scratches allow pressure to, sorry, I touched the phone. So those micro scratches touch the allow the pressure to go higher and presses it more until it finally seals. So it starts to make a bed on the seal. So in order for us to fix, that's why it's not good to keep readjusting the regulator. It's fine at the beginning until you get it where you want, because after that, if you use it for some time, you're gonna create like a bed or a seat, and if you want to adjust it again, I recommend to flat it again. And actually this one, so I did another one. Okay, and let me finish my thoughts. So I recommend to flat it again, and not this part. If you did the polish on this part, leave it. So I recommend to flat it again, because when you rotate it, if this isn't perfectly round and concentric and whatsoever, you're going to change the position, and actually you may have a little angle on a valve where it has seated properly already. So I recommend to flatten everything and start from zero, so you have a new seat and whatsoever. So yeah, let's go now work on this and fix it. I need to move. I'm gonna work on the lathe because I can and I have one. So I was saying before, you could use a power drill, but it needs to be quite a bit of a power drill to be able to check this. So maybe, let me check something. I think you could, if it were me, let me see if I can measure it with my, no, because it's where, what do I want? Okay, let me see with this. Okay, perfect. So this is a 3mm screw, and it doesn't fit. So what I would do, actually I would grab a M3 tap and make a little thread in here, so you can put a screw and you can grab the screw on the power drill instead of the shucking this. If you have a shuck wide enough to chuck this, be careful. First, you should remove the O-ring. We're gonna remove it. Yeah, I'm gonna remove it off camera maybe. So I have this plastic pick. Use a plastic or wood pick. So the best thing to do is actually press it in order to make a belly there, you see? And then pick it. It's hard to do it under the phone. I'm gonna do it off the phone. You don't need to remove that one. So yeah, remove this O-ring, put electric tape around it so you don't damage the quite a few turns, so you don't damage the brass. It doesn't really matter this out surface here, but it's always good not to scratch stuff. So same with this, you need to grab it by the threads and you don't want to damage the threads, so put a few turns of electric tape and grab it by that. I'm gonna use a collet. Collets don't damage the threads. So I'm gonna move to the lathe and we can start working. Okay, so here we are on the lathe, and so I checked this part. I need to grab my wood stick and some pieces of, so this is my plate for polishing. I'm sorry, I'm not running on a lab, so yeah, everything has chips on it because guess what, lathe makes chips. So yeah, don't care about that. So we have some polishing paste, this is 8000 grit. I'm gonna grab a few new strips, and actually I'm gonna write them which grit they are. So this one, it's new, it's probably 10K, because I used it to polish, guess what, another rag that's brass there. So yeah, give me a second. I was saying about this piece. So I only did one, the one on my 900, AP900, and actually the seal was, I'm not sure, but it looked like nylon. And this one, I'm pretty sure this is PEEK, because it's beige, and it's standard color for PEEK. So I think this little guy, it's actually PEEK, the seal, which is the best plastic for this stuff. Anyway, so let's move on. I'm gonna grab a few stripes of sandpaper, and let's start with the process. Okay, so I grabbed some 3K sandpaper. No point in starting less, because the finish on this is already very good. Maybe it's not a bad idea to remove these O-rings, but we're gonna properly clean them after, or actually remove them and clean it after. Doesn't matter, because of the grit of the sandpaper and such. It's better. But anyway, you can just soak it in alcohol and scrub it. It's gonna be fine anyway. So 3K, 7K, 5K, and 10K. Obviously, not on that order. We're gonna do the 5K before the 7K, evidently. So we have the wood thingy, and yeah. So ideally, you have this on a vise, or well, you have this on a power drill and on a vise. And you put it to, this is going to be awkward for me, because I'm going to need to be under the, I'm just showing a little bit at the beginning, because I need to remove the phone, because I need to be able to see what I'm doing. It's just showing the way I do it. So let's start with the 3K, which is very soft. You can just cut pieces and glue it. Actually, it's a good idea. What I usually do is I roll it. Let me start better, like that, and use it like this. A little less. Yeah, like that. So I'm gonna start the lathe. I'm gonna put a little alcohol for lube. Very smooth. You don't need pressure. You want the sandpaper to do the job, and what you really want is that tip polish. You don't need the whole thing. I'm gonna do the whole thing, but what you need is just the tip. Very gently, take your time. Let me clean the bottom there. Like that. Now let's stop and let's try to examine with the, you can use a magnifying glass, whatever. I like this stuff because it's really so you want to remove all those. We should have examined it before. But we want to remove all those rings, scratchy stuff out of there. I can tell you it's better because I looked before it already. So let's move to the, as you can see, it's very fast. And since the finish from factory, it's very good already. And we see we removed quite a bit of material. We're gonna move to 5K. Like that. Bit of alcohol. And let's go again. Gently. I'm just barely touching it, not forcing at all. If you can see, I'm trying to put a slight angle, a positive angle on the tip, but that's not very important. And let's take another look. I'm gonna grab a tissue so I can clean it. A clean one because I don't have one here. So give me just a second and we're gonna inspect it again. Okay, I'm back. So a little alcohol and let's just clean it. Good. Let's take a look how it looks now. And you can see the rings are softer. Everything looks good, especially on the tip. Yeah. So I'm gonna go through the 7K, 10K, then we go to the paste and I'll be back when it's done. So I just finished with a 10,000 grit. Let's take a look. And it looks amazing. This thing amplifies a lot. So you're gonna always get actually I think it's a little dirty. Getting a little, yeah, it was. So we are done with the sandpaper. You see how clean that hole is? It's amazing. So now we're gonna go with polishing lapping compound. So what's the difference? So the difference is we're gonna go with a cloth and with paste. The cloth is much softer than the wood, so we can actually properly polish and clean all the rest. So let me grab a piece of cotton, like a old t-shirt or something like that. It's perfect. And we're gonna go with pastes. Okay, so I'm back. So I have a piece of cloth in here. And I'm gonna start with 10 grit. You don't need much. You only need like that. That's plenty. So one of these will last you a lot. So we're gonna go 10, 5, 2.5, and finish with half. I'm gonna run them all, and we're gonna see the finish result. Okay, I'm gonna run the first showing and the last. Just light pressure, put more paste in. Just like massaging it. Very soft. More paste. That's one. I'm gonna clean it. Bit of oil. Make sure we're gonna use a piece of paper which is not used yet. Wanna clean everywhere. And let's see if we spot any difference already with just one grit. I can see it by eye, it's much shinier. And yeah, we can see clearly the difference. At least I can see clearly the difference in smoothness. So I'm going to continue with the grits, and we'll be back when it's done. Okay, so I just finished. I haven't even looked at it. Just finished with half a micron paste, and yeah, okay, it's a mirror. This is exactly what you want. I'm not sure if I'll be able to show it on camera even, but it's a freaking mirror. So this is perfect. I'm gonna clean it. I need to put this thing to charge. It's giving a low power warning. So yeah, it's perfect. We're gonna move to the next piece. Before we assemble, we're gonna do a proper cleaning of everything. Remove the O-rings. We need to make sure we remove the paste from the holes and whatsoever. So let me put that thing to charge. Let me change this part, and we're gonna continue. Well, before we continue, I'm just trying to show it in here. It's a mirror. It's perfect. Okay, so another part, same story. We're gonna start polishing this guy. This one it's a little harder, to be honest. I should insert a new valve, which would be proud of the brass part. I think this one is actually inside. The other one I did was pretty much on flat. But anyway, we can do it. We can do it anyway. So why would be better to be the seal would be proud? That way we wouldn't insert brass particles into the plastic. But yeah, we work with what we have. Maybe I'll do it a little filing first to remove a little bit of the brass. Or try to. I don't know, because I don't want to incentivize you guys to doing that. So I'm trying just to instead of going with the wood, or maybe we'll start, I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the brass is a little proud. Anyway, we're gonna see how we're gonna do. So this part I'm gonna start with the sandpaper a little lower, like 1000, or maybe even less, and go again upwards and finish with the paste. So yeah, let's go to it. Okay, I just started with 1000 grit, and I actually pushed it a little more. I should have filmed it so I would explain what I was doing. So the ideal with the first grid, we might go even a little higher than 1000. I need to grab the micro thingy, because with the first grid we really want to remove the seat, the previous seat of the valve, and so we can start fresh. So I'm gonna grab another thingy, because I have 2 or 3 of those microscope thingies. So I'm gonna grab another one. Hopefully it has battery, and we're gonna take a look and see if it's off. Well, this one is full of battery, so let's see if we can see anything. Oh, yeah, we did a good job. So let me try if I shut off this light. So see, there's no... maybe there is still, but I can work with that. So I think it's still there, the mark. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it, give it a little more, because I think it's still over there, a mark of the valve. So I'm gonna give it a little more with the 1000, and we're gonna move from there. Okay, I'm gonna put a little more alcohol. So right now I'm gonna be moving it a lot, because I want to remove everything, and I don't really care if I mix a little brass on a plastic, but with the others we won't bubble this much. We'll just do micro movements to avoid brass mixing on the plastic. Yeah, it should be enough. Let me clean it. Let's clean it. Let's see where we are. Should be good. Let me... Oh yeah. We don't have any more signs of the whole thingy. So now we are ready to start fresh. As you can see, it doesn't take much to go far. So if you guys are doing this, be patient. Don't need to rush, especially on plastic. You don't need to press it hard. Same on the brass. Just light touch, let the sand do the job. And yeah, let's continue. So now I'm gonna move to 3K. And the idea here is not to move the wood around or the sandpaper around as much as we did. So here we have the previously used, so I'm gonna move one so we have fresh sandpaper with no brass. Alcohol to lubricate. And now let's not move a lot the wood. It's hard to do it. Just micro movement, because we want the grid to go several directions. Just barely touch it. And let's clean. This should be more than enough for the let's take a look. Oh yeah, it's getting better. And I'm not sure if you guys can see actually here on the screen of this thingy because of the weird angle, but you're always gonna get scratches. Don't get me wrong, there's no way. This thing amplifies a lot. So there's a piece of, though that scratch there, it's not a scratch, it's a piece of the tissue. Let me see if I can get rid of it. See, it's not there anymore. And it's pretty flat. It's flatter now than it was from factory. So, and we still have a long way to go. So yeah, let's go. Slowly. Slow is fast in here. So I'm gonna shut down and I'm gonna run until the 10K and we're gonna take a look after it. Okay, so I just finished the 10K sandpaper. Let's take a look. Ooh. Come on. What's going on here? Yeah. What the hell? Why can I get... There we go. Soft, 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 soft. Barely can see any scratches. So let's go with the polish now. Same story, I'm gonna polish the same 4 grids. So 10 micron, 5 micron, 2.5 micron, and half a micron. With my polishing cloth, I'm not gonna use the same spots. I'm gonna use new ones because of the brass. So yeah, I'm gonna do the first on camera, and then I'm gonna skip all the others and show just the finish. Okay, just some slightly wobble, so we don't, and absolutely no pressure, just touch, because we don't want to burnish the plastic. And we should be good. Gonna put a little bit of alcohol here to clean. Good. And do the final cleaning with the piece of paper. I could show you with the microscope, but let's wait for the last one. So I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna do the last 3 lapping compounds, and then we're gonna take a final look into it. Okay, final pass done. Let me take a look. Yeah, it is. Could be better, but we always gonna get some scratches. I learned that at least watching from that thing, because if I'm gonna remove this thing from here, and if I'm gonna put it in here, you can see it's a freaking mirror. While if I put it in here, you will always get those tiny micro scratches there. Yeah, I'm absolutely confident this thing will work just fine. So let me move my setup again to the bench, and I'm gonna do a proper cleaning on this thingy and remove the O-rings and put them back and whatsoever. Well, I forgot to press recording, and basically all I did was just clean the parts and install the parts on the rack. Basically put a bit of silicone grease on the O-rings. I cleaned the Belleville washers. I was saying some people polish the Belleville washers. I'm not a fan of that because they have a proper coating that slides better. Some phosphorus, whatever coating that make them slide better. So what I did, I cleaned them and I put some drops of silicone oil on all of them, and I'll mix them together in order to let them all wet. And install them in the piston again. Silicone grease on the O-rings, and same on here. So now I'm gonna be setting the size. So we were at 50.23. But since we polish the parts, means that we actually wear them. So if we set the same, we're gonna have a little higher pressure. I'm not sure how higher, so I'm gonna leave it like a tenth of a millimeter more. So instead of 23, I'm gonna leave it there at 14. And let's just put this thingy so it doesn't move. And it actually pulled the tiny more. That's too much. Yeah, 15, 14 looks good. Let me give it a little. I need. And yes, these pliers are awesome. They are not cheap, but they are awesome. Okay, good. So I'm gonna put a little lube in here. Oh, that's way too much. So again, this is silicone grease, and I'm only using the lid of my tin. So yeah, I'm going to install this in the pressure tester, and we're going to take a look. Okay, so here we are at the pressure tester. Let me fill this thing and let's see where we are. Okay, so we are at 123. Let it settle. 0.7, 0.8, and I'm gonna put. I'm gonna cycle it. Let's put the timer and let's see. So cycle, break, and start. So I'm gonna leave it there for 30 minutes and let's see. So we are at 123.5. Let's call it 123.5. Because the digital gauge also has some time to settle. So let's see where it ends up. See you in a few. Okay, so just catch up. We are at 11 minutes and we have 123.6. So we are pretty much where we started, and now the digital gauge has for sure settled. And yeah, let's see, let's wait. This is we are at 12 minutes, so let's wait until at least half an hour. Okay, final check. Let's see. So we have the bottle at 200 bar roughly, and whoa, guess what? We have 123 bar. So yeah, I would say it's working just fine. I actually, so this is clearly, so this is gauge, it's like 1% measurement error, plus or minus. So at 123 we are talking about 2.5 bar. So of course the pressure didn't drop because we have still 200 bar, so it's just a reading error. So let's say that the reg, it's within measuring error of the gauge. So I just cycle it. I open and close the valve. And yeah, it's been 30 minutes. So this thing isn't going anywhere. Yeah, I called it a success. So some people say, oh, I'm gonna buy a Yuma regulator. I guarantee you, if you don't do this to your Yuma, you won't get better results than that. So take your choice. You either spend like $5 on a sandpaper kit of multiple grain and like $10 on polishing pastes, and you get them enough to do regulators every day for the rest of your life, and you lose like 1 or 2 hours of your time and you learn something new. Or you can spend like, I don't know, I don't even know how much a Yuma regulator costs nowadays, but I would say with shipping 120 euros on a new regulator that will work a little better than the original, but definitely worse than the original can work. Yeah, it's your choice. So I've done this to 2 of my regulators now. I got the same results, basically. Well within the measuring error of the gauge. And yeah, so I saw, and it's still where it was. So yeah, You tell me what you think. $12 or $15 and learning something new and 2 hours of your time, or 120 euros and you get a little better than you are, but not as good as you can be. So let me know what you think. See ya. Bye bye.